Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning. Welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
We're into the fall season, big time.
Yes, we are.
And I've done it again, I have to tell you. You've been with me for 7 years doing this?
Something like that, yeah.
I bought another house.
You bought another house?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I thought you were done with houses.
Well,
at least buying them.
So it's a house, but it needs a lot of renovation. It was built in 1940, and it's 150 yards from where I live.
Oh, so you brought your neighbor's house?
Kinda.
Okay.
And it's, you know how we talk on the show sometimes about how people move here and they love the neighborhood, and there's a subculture of wellness. There's a subculture of renovating and enhancing. Some of the neighborhoods have so much character.
Oh, yeah, some of them have great character.
We're going to be speaking today with a couple of ladies from an area that has a ton of character in Pinehurst. But so from time to time this fall, you're going to be getting updates from me about the renovation, because I can't buy something that's new that you just move into. I have to resurrect it.
Yeah, you like to put your touch on it, don't you?
Yeah, 1940.
Is that your era or something?
Yeah. The rule is that the house has to be older than me for me to have interest in it.
Ah,
and
okay.
Unfortunately, the inventory is getting lower
I was gonna say.
and lower. But there's so many, in Pinehurst and in Southern Pines, in Aberdeen as well, there's so many cool old homes on neat properties.
Yes, there are. They're everywhere.
But, the rule of thumb is the nicest lots seem to have the oldest homes.
Yep.
And so being able to find something with that character and ambiance, it's a opportunity, it's a privilege to work at.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do with this house.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably bore you to tears with it I'll give you updates as we go this year.
Okay, that sounds good.
So every fall, so I've been living here since 1999, and I know I've said that the fall season is my favorite time of the year, especially here in Moore County. There seems to be just a ton of events. It's almost like when summer is over and we've just gotten through this Dorian.
Yes.
People now start looking through September, right through Christmas.
Yeah.
And the calendar is jam-packed with events.
Oh, yeah. Something's going on constantly around here.
Right. Today we're gonna hyper-focus on the village of Pinehurst because back in 1979, when I first came here, the village of Pinehurst was, and still is, it's like the epicenter of Moore County.
Yes.
It's what everyone knows when they come here. And yet today's Pinehurst is a lot different than what it was 20 years ago.
Oh, very much so.
And the guests that we're going to be speaking with today are going to be speaking all about the village. The special events coordinator, McDonald, is here, and Emily Zalzneck. And did I pronounce that correctly? And you're the special events coordinator or the assistant in the village of Pinehurst. This is a perfect time to talk, and you brought in what's called the Pinehurst Activity Guide.
Yeah.
And you both represent, to my eyes, a different generation that I would not necessarily associate with Pinehurst from 20 years ago. Megan, I'll start with you and just say good morning.
Good morning.
I've heard a bunch of things about you, and I can tell after just talking to you for a few minutes before the taping, they're all true.
Good things, I hope.
They're all good things.
Okay.
You obviously you come from, that expression, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yes.
Have you heard that?
I have.
So it seems to me like you just recently married.
Yep, I've been married for almost 2 years now, 2 years in November, and I moved here almost 2 years ago, October.
And where'd you move from?
Knoxville, Tennessee, where I worked for a couple years.
And so you got here through tell me the story.
Yeah, so I met my husband. We went to NC State together, and we were both cheerleaders on the cheer team for the university. He grew up here in Aberdeen,
Right.
so he's from the area. Just so happened to take a job back home, which we're very lucky for. There were a couple options up in the air, so I'm really glad he landed here.
Right.
And then once I graduated school a couple years after him, I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee to work for an event company that did large scale cheerleading events.
Oh.
Yeah. So I get that a lot. So we just traveled around the country and hosted, like I said, large scale cheerleading events.
Okay.
We did, our events ranged from about 50,000 people to 100,000 people. So when I moved to Pinehurst, I really wasn't sure what to expect for the job market. And so I got very lucky that this position had opened up.
Tell me about how you got the job and how you found out about the village of Pinehurst.
Yeah, so actually, my mother-in-law sent me the job description. She thought it was right up my alley. I applied for it, and I just held my breath. And during the interview process, I met the team. The whole team was there to interview me through Parks and Rec, and it really was a perfect fit.
And before you left the room, they shook your hand and said you have the job, right?
No, I did have to hold my breath for just about another week.
Did you really?
I did.
So you've been with them for how long now?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. Tell me your role with the village.
Yeah, so I'm the special events coordinator. So I oversee all of our permanent events, our temp use events, and our sponsored events. So, for example, our events are our Live After 5 Christmas tree lighting, July 4th, but we do have some sponsored events like Shakespeare in the Pines that comes in June. And this year, for the first time again, we're sponsoring the Holly Arts and Crafts Festival by the Pinehurst Business Partners.
So you have a very inclusive presence. Now, my sense is you put your arms out and you kind of wrap it around a lot of people and you kind of bring them into your circle. And your personality seems very engaging in that regard.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to start using that a little bit
Are you?
more. Yeah, come to my circle.
And the humor comes for free.
Yes, it does.
Wow. Emily, you're not a native of Moore County. You've been here 11 years.
Yes.
Tell me about how you got here, why you came here, and how you got hooked up with the village.
So my background is in events, and I guess most recently worked for the United States Golf Association. And so that's where I met my husband. And I had left the USGA since we were together and moved here.
Were you with the USGA in Chicago?
I was.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Worked on the 03 U.S. Open and the 05 Walker Cup.
No kidding.
Yes. And so then kind of got into more fitness side of things, still doing some events, some 5Ks and that. And then when I moved here, was with First Health Fitness for the 11 years I've been here.
And your husband is with the USGA?
Yes. And so he travels quite a bit, so I work part-time.
Okay.
We have a daughter, and so a lot of my time is taken up by that. So I do work part-time. Nice thing is I do it while she's at school. And then, so I could still kind of do my event side of things, my love of events, but still be able to be home to raise her. So
There was a golf pro. She passed away from the Cog Hill Country Club, Dee Dee Owens.
I know the name.
Okay. She actually used to come to Pinehurst, and she would teach in the Bob Toski Golf Digest schools.
Oh, okay.
And she was kind of an iconic member of the LPGA and the teaching crew, but always involved in USGA events. And we actually did, a bunch of things with the USGA back in the 1999 and 2005 Opens.
Yes.
When they came here. Rental housing and such.
Sure.
Is the USGA still in Short Hills, New Jersey?
Far Hills, yes.
Far Hills. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I knew it was Hills.
Yep, you're
and
right.
I knew it was New Jersey.
Yes.
So you sort of evolved with the village, and so now you're okay. Listening to this young lady next to you, she's kind of an old soul, isn't she?
She is.
Huh?
She makes
A little bit.
my job a lot of fun.
Right. and but that's an unusual characteristic.
Yes.
So that's a great. Are you an only child?
I'm one of 5.
But you're the most important of the 5.
I like to think so, but I think
Right.
my siblings would disagree.
Do your parents know that?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
So I love the humor. You got to have humor. So you guys work together. You
Quite a bit.
you're cooperating. You're spreading the word about some of these events and getting the word out.
That's great.
So the demographics of Moore County have changed.
Yes.
It's even in the 11 years since you've been here.
Oh, yes.
Do you find that you have conversations or meetings now about events in terms of what is family friendly and what is not?
Yeah, we do. And we try to cater to all demographics at our events. We try to pick different bands throughout our concert series to appeal to different people. We always have a kids activity at the event,
Right.
just to try to keep kids entertained so parents can still enjoy and grandparents can still enjoy.
Right.
We have added golf cart parking to all of our events that we can in Tufts Park, because that has been a huge addition to our events as well, to be able to accommodate people just in every way we can.
Yeah. I see that the village of Pinehurst is also evolving because they're trying to play the music for the audience, and the audience has changed
Yes.
dramatically over the years. Live at 5 is probably the best example of having 4 or 5 generations that live in Moore County all at one venue.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing.
It's fun to see.
It
A lot
is
of
fun
people
to
come out.
see. And we've also, we've really targeted our bands to that. So when I first started, they were like beach music bands. That is what
Right.
we need to this
Shag.
area.
Shag.
Yeah. And and they do a fantastic job.
She
but
rolled her eyes when she said that.
Yeah.
they do. They do a great job. And they also bring a variety with their sets as well. But then we started doing some party bands.
Yeah.
And those have become pretty competitive with those beach bands. I would say those are our 2 most popular bands at events now.
Live at 5 takes a lot of community support and
It does.
a lot of volunteers to make it work. How many years has it been going on? Because it's really started to take off.
Yeah, so it actually started with Pinehurst businesses threw it on, and they did that for a couple of years.
The Business Guild.
That was before my time, so I don't have as much information on that, but we took it back. I have records back to 2012 is when we started working with the
Right.
events to take it over and move it into the streets, kind of make it a little bigger.
Yeah. There's it seems to me like a very friendly competition between Southern Pines and Pinehurst. Everybody, and Aberdeen too.
Right.
Everyone has their events, and they seem to work in tandem so that they don't conflict.
Yeah.
Like they're alternate weekends or this or that.
Yep.
There's First Friday. There's Live at 5. It's become and the village is loaded with kids.
Yes.
It is. It really is.
Crazy. The pool, the some of the changes that the club has made to appeal to these younger families.
Right.
You have children, Emily.
I have one daughter. She's 9.
She's 9. Oh, so she's right in the thick of it.
Right. When we first moved here, it was still quite a retirement town.
Right.
And so it's been fun to see the changes and the different things that she's been able to take advantage of. We've been to a lot of these events as she was younger.
Right.
And they were maybe 50 to 100 people. And now we're getting a couple thousand people at these events.
Right.
So they've quite changed. I mean, our Christmas tree lighting, we've been going since we moved here to the Christmas tree lighting. And it's quite a big event now, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. One of the other things that I've noticed is the sense of cooperation in the village, in particular, amongst the business owners, where everybody is sort of trying to band together to work in unison. Because as the village of Pinehurst succeeds with the events, the businesses profit, it's a win-win.
Absolutely.
And so you don't have that competitive, it's me versus you. It's all about together, it takes a village.
It does take a village, and that's one thing that we've really focused on is trying to just
Yeah.
keep open lines of communication with the businesses, with the community, with other departments in the village. So
Yeah.
I think the stronger communication you can have, the easier all of that becomes.
Megan
Right.
was born old, wasn't she?
Yes. Yes.
Right? Did you go through infancy, or did you just come right into adulthood? And
Yeah, 21.
Really?
Yep.
You just came right into I'll just
She stayed at 21.
She
the
was
whole
born
time.
with a
Oh.
college degree, and then she
Yes.
just
And
went
then
on
it's just
from there.
Mhm.
Very impressive. We're going to come back in the second set. We're talking with the Village of Pinehurst special events group, and we're going to talk about the Pinehurst Activity Guide. But we want to talk a lot about some of the specific events coming up that people can mark their calendars
Great.
by.
That'd be great.
This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to All Things Moore County, and our conversation today with the Pinehurst Parks and Rec and the Events Planning Committee. Emily Zalzneck is with us, and Megan McDonald, the Special Events Coordinator. There are certain events in Moore County that you could almost mark your calendar by.
Yeah.
One of them is the Holly Arts and Crafts Festival.
Yep.
We always know it comes in October. And there are just certain events that sort of take on a life of their own. Mm-hmm. But you guys have many events planned between now and Christmas. I'd love you to talk about them, and I'd love you to talk about the Pinehurst Activity Guide that you just came out with, which features a lot of the events from September through January.
Yeah. So this activity guide is a great reference for everything going on in our department. So in here, you'll find everything going on, special events, the fair barn, programs, athletics, updates on our community center. We put this out 3 times a year. So we go January through May,
Right.
May through September, September through January.
This is not it doesn't look like it's an inexpensive publication.
We work really hard as a team on it. It's all done in-house. Our communications coordinator, Melissa Holt, puts a lot of work into that for us.
I know Melissa.
Yeah. So she has really turned this around for us, and we provide content for it.
People can pick this magazine up where? How?
Yeah. So we have an online link on our vopnc.org. So you can always download the PDF of that on our website. But we distribute them to all of we distribute them to Pinehurst Elementary,
Right.
West Pine Middle, and West Pine Elementary. We do send them out in the pilot as well. If you don't get either of those, we have them at the Welcome Center in downtown. We have them at the post office, and we have them at Village Hall.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We have in our office, we have many moms, and they all have 2 to 3 children. It's almost as if you have to have 2 to 3 children or you don't count as a mom. And they're always out of breath, and they're always running around, and they're always doing things. And I hear all of these events talked about amongst them. Some of them are very familiar to me, some of them are not.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through a couple of the things that people can find out?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this activity guide, we have 2 more Live After 5 concerts. So those have become really popular.
Yeah.
During those concerts in September, on September 13th, we have Tony Barnes opening the show at 5:15, and we have the Band of Oz taking the stage at 6.
The Band of Oz is great.
Yeah, they are. They're fantastic.
Oh my gosh, the Band of Oz, they're really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big
So-
following.
Yeah, big following. That's on September 13th. And then the other concert, our last concert of the year, is on Friday, October 11th. We have Nathan Pope opening the show at 5:15 and the band Bantam Rooster at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And Bantam Rooster last year did our July 4th concert, and they were fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, so they did a really good job. They're a party band. They'll have a lot of energy. At these concerts, we do have food trucks on site. We'll have beer and wine sold by Nonprofit and Southern Pines Brewery. And we do have free kids activities to keep the kids entertained and obviously dancing. So wear comfortable clothes and shoes.
So Live of Five is a monthly event, and it starts in April or May?
Yep. So we do April and May, and then August, September, October. And it's always the second Friday of the month.
Okay. So we have 2 more events coming up. September 13th is right around the corner.
Yeah, next week.
Next week. That's right.
Next week.
Sandhills Farmers Market.
Yeah, so that is
Talk
a
about
village
that.
sponsored event. So that is run by the St. Germains, and they do a fantastic job. They do that twice a week. They do it on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And then in September, which is what we're doing into now, they only do it on Saturdays
Okay.
In
So-
Tufts Park.
in Tufts Memorial Park. So you can catch that. That ends the last Saturday of the year, September 28th for that. And then they'll be back in April.
Okay, so they shut down after September 30th.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We have Eats, Beats, and Brews coming up. That one is really fun. So that's a food truck rodeo that we have. We have 10 food trucks coming in, 5 beer, wine, and cider vendors. We have inflatables to keep the kids entertained. We have a bubble artist coming who does a fantastic job every time they're in town.
Yeah.
That one's in the Village Arboretum.
Right.
So that one's, it just gives us a lot of space for that event. We have 2 bands coming at 5:00. We'll have the band Heads Up Penny from Raleigh. And at 7:00, we have the band Minutes in Years from Raleigh coming
Okay.
in.
It's crazy. Moore County is becoming the craft brewery capital of the Southeast. I've never seen
on.
Yes,
so
lots of them.
many different organizations and different establishments that are. I mean, oh my! There's anyone can go out and just get toasted. I mean, it's crazy. There's a new one opening. There are a couple of new ones opening up. I guess within the next year, but craft breweries are becoming as much a part of the culture of our community as anything.
Right. Big military presence here
There
too,
you-
and I think
that's it.
that is a big following for, I think they enjoy a good craft beer, and I think that's how kind of Southern Pines Brewery started and
Right.
on from there. So they're great to work with.
That's again, that gets back to what we were talking about in the first set, the changing demographics and the businesses that are coming up as a result of the people that are moving here.
Definitely.
It's crazy. Tell me about the Flutterbly.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that correct?
Flutterby Festival.
Flutterby. Okay.
So again, a sponsored event with the Village and the Village Heritage Foundation. So they recently opened up the new pollinator garden in the Village Arboretum, and they have done a beautiful job with that. So they are hosting an event on October 5th in the Village Arboretum from 11 to 2 to just kind of have an educational event. They're bringing in a monarch butterfly tent, where if you go through all of the stations, walk through the garden, you'll actually be able to enter the tent.
And they'll do like a monarch release of butterflies and just kind of educating people about the pollinator garden and stuff that is there now. And it's been there just about a year now,
It's
less than a year.
Less than a year, yeah. So it's just opening up. They've had it open for a while, but the finishing touches have just started coming into place. It's very beautiful on our trails.
The activity guide that you have, can it be seen in its entirety online?
It can.
Yes.
So can you supply me with is it a PDF, a link to it?
Yep.
Because we'll do a podcast.
Great.
And in the podcast, we want to embed the link.
Great.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that people can click and open it, right? And
That's
they can go
fantastic.
through page by page.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because I think that's how so many people get their information. And it's also it's very cost effective
Right.
It is.
without having to distribute.
And you
Right.
can't lose it. It's always there.
Yeah. She and I, when I was her age, she and I had nothing in common. She would not have even spoken to me. Who is he? I mean, may I ask how old you are? I know you're not supposed to do that, but
No, I just turned 27.
jeez. Yeah, I go back to what I said. At 27, she said, "Who's he?"
She's got a good sense of humor.
Oh my goodness. The Holly Arts and Crafts Festival seems to have a long history here.
It
It's been
does.
here for a long time. Tell me
This will
about
be
it.
the 41st event.
Oh my gosh.
So this is actually a Pinehurst business partner event.
Okay.
And they do a fantastic job hosting it. So they've done it for years on their own, but this year we will be sponsoring. So we'll just be supporting with road closures, trash cans, and that sort of thing. So they fully execute that event.
Okay.
And like I said, they do a great job. And it's that is on Saturday, October 19th from 10 to 4.
And October is, weather-wise, you might argue it's the prettiest, most temperate month of the year.
It's gorgeous.
The trees are changing color. The temperatures are cool in the morning, warm during the day, and cool in the evening. October is just a fabulous month here.
Yeah.
It is. And we have a lot going on in October in general. That's one of our busiest event months.
Right. Fall Festival?
We do, yeah. So that's another village-sponsored event that's run by the Pinehurst PTA, and that is at Keenan Park on October 25th from 5 to 8. So they do a great job, and that's a fundraising effort for the school and all they have
Pinehurst
going
Elementary.
on. Pinehurst Elementary, correct. And then we also have Oktoberfest, and that one is always a huge hit. We have the Hulse Hacker Tyrolean Band playing from 6
Say
to
that a bunch of
9.
times.
Could you say that again?
Right?
I will try. Hulse Hacker Tyrolean Band.
Okay.
So we actually broke it up into a Kinderfest from 4 to 6. Where we'll have a DJ during that time playing more kid-friendly music. We'll have inflatables to keep the kids entertained, as well as a costume show-off, and some crafts to keep the kids entertained. And then from 6 to 9, we have Oktoberfest. During that time, we do keep our kids' craft tent open, but our inflatables shut down. And that's when the band comes. We have some Stein relay races, Stein holding competitions. We team up with the Kiwanis Club, who is our nonprofit for that evening, and they do beer and wine sales. And I know they import a special beer for this event.
When I look at some of these events, Emily, I've always said that this is such a great area to raise kids in.
Yeah.
And there's sort of like a Norman Rockwellian quality or a Currier and Ives quality to some of the events and the backdrops. And some of these events, I can think of these kids who are growing up here will remember these events when they were kids, when they come back to visit mom and dad
Right.
30 years from now.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Megan's too young to remember Currier and Ives, and I'm going to venture to say Norman Rockwell, and she's going to dispute it with me. Nope, she doesn't know. Okay.
Well, we talked about Norman Rockwell. Remember?
The paintings.
Yeah.
I do. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar.
He's an illustrator, right? An Americana. He's so cute. But you know what I'm saying? It's just there's something about this area that's not urban, even though there are urban aspects to it.
Yes.
That are very homey and just charming.
Right.
And all these events in my mind, I think of kids, I think of their parents and their grandparents all at the same
Right.
events.
Yeah. That's how it happens for us.
Right? Different than Chicago.
Quite a bit different from Chicago.
Yeah.
Although I love Chicago, but love the weather here more.
Yeah. And then the turkey trot, let me guess, that has to do with Thanksgiving. Just a wild guess.
It does. It is a 5K.
Okay.
So that one event had been going on for many years. They revamped it 2 years ago to just be a 5K.
Okay.
So that one is a village-sponsored event.
Yep.
They run through the village, get a good view of downtown and all that stuff. So
That one starts at the Arboretum, and it's on November 23rd this year. Yeah.
November is also a very packed month. October and November back-to-back are like loaded.
Yes. For weddings as well. We do a lot of weddings at the Arboretum, and we have quite a few weddings in October and a few in November as well. So
So talk to me about that. The Village of Pinehurst, your Parks and Rec sets up. I did not know that.
So
Yes, that's what Emily does a lot of.
Village Arboretum, we rent out for special events if people wanted. A lot of times people use it for wedding ceremonies.
Okay.
The pergola garden there for wedding ceremonies, and then the Timmel Pavilion, which is the covered pavilion in the Arboretum. And so we do rentals. And so quite a few people are starting to get married there and have their receptions.
What are the months that are most popular for that because of the weather and such?
Yeah. April and May are pretty busy, and then October, November are pretty busy. We had 3 or 4 this summer too. We've had one in August, July. So it's kind of all over the board now.
And that information is in the activity guide?
It is.
Okay.
Under Village Arboretum.
Yeah, we got to get this activity guide out to people. And then, of course, you've got the Christmas tree lighting.
Yeah, so that's our second biggest event of the year following July 3rd and 4th. So that is on December 6th this year at Tufts Memorial Park from 5 to 7:30. We always have a lot going on. We have Santa will be there. He's confirmed his attendance. And John Gessner will be taking pictures with Santa. And we do free downloads the next day with John, and he does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
We'll be doing a canned food drive for the food bank. We'll have some onstage performances, and that one's always an awesome event to attend. Downtown always looks gorgeous at that time too.
It does.
The businesses do a lot of work to decorate, and so that one is coming up, and that is a great event. We light the tree at 6:30.
Okay.
And that is going to happen at 6:30. So we worked really hard to make sure that stays on time for everybody. So yeah, we'll be teaming up with Kirk Tours again this year for some shuttles to make transportation easy. So yeah, that one's always a good time down in Tufts Park.
And that's a great time too. We keep that tree lit all the way through New Year's. So you'll see family going down there and taking their pictures and stuff for the holidays. And it's a neat presence right down in Tufts Memorial.
Yeah.
And that one's a good one to always keep the date for as well. We will always do it the Friday following Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
So that this year falls December 6th.
So that Friday, following Thanksgiving, because the
Weekend.
Friday after Thanksgiving here is nuts.
It is.
Right,
That's why
not
we
that
are
one.
we skip that one and do the
You've
next
got
one.
Nutcracker everywhere.
Right.
I mean, there's so much stuff going on from Thanksgiving on.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
Shopping.
Yeah. You know what amazes me? How the pace of Moore County becomes frenetic from the time you finish Thanksgiving dinner till Christmas morning. Then the next day, peace and quiet.
It is nice.
Isn't that crazy? The few days leading up to are just nuts. And then December 25th, the day of, and then right afterwards, it's back to peace and tranquility.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Right.
Look, we're going to come back in the last set. We want to wrap up with you guys and get some big picture conversations going on about the village. And she's been here 2 years, right?
2 years.
She sounds like she's been here 20 years. She's
Right.
the names that she knows, the people, the network. Do you have any idea how networked you are after 2 years?
Well, I really appreciate that. That's a huge compliment.
But it's true. I mean,
thank you.
you're dropping names that took me 20 years to know. And I mean, it's crazy.
where credit's due.
We're talking all about the village of Pinehurst, the Pinehurst Activity Guide, and the Pinehurst Parks and Rec Department. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our third and final set of All Things Moore County. Megan McDonald is the Special Events Coordinator with the Village of Pinehurst, and Emily Zalzneck is the Events Assistant and lives in the village, actually. You both live in Pinehurst.
We do.
And I am very impressed by not just the activities, but the enthusiasm. There seems to be a great energy behind the events.
Thank you.
And Megan, you have this natural enthusiasm,
I
which
appreciate that.
it comes out. Yeah, it's not a compliment. It's
It's you.
It's the
It's
truth.
just so
It's just the truth.
I'll take it.
I mean, here's a compliment. Oh, your hair looks, or that's a pretty color on you. But it's just it's a statement of fact. So that's better than a compliment.
I'll take it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good energy, Megan. Good energy.
Yeah, I think so. I'm very impressed with the Pinehurst Activity Guide.
Thank you.
Beyond all the events, you have a section in here that details all the things about the parks and the trails in the Pinehurst area.
Yep.
You've got a beautiful Pinehurst Greenway map. But you also have a section on athletics, a section on adult programs, a section on senior and special needs programs.
Yes. So Dave White is our athletic coordinator. So just things going on in him. He has adult wiffle ball going on, adult inline hockey, and then a ton of youth sports happening. He does a great job organizing those and has compiled that information here in the guide. And then Nicole Benbow is our program coordinator, and she has a lot on her plate with adult programs, like you said, senior trips, special needs trips, and proms. So there's a lot going on, and she hits every age demographic there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily's got a 9-year-old at home. You're not there yet.
No,
Okay. So she has a little bit of a leg up on you,
she does.
but there's a stage in front of you that you can kind of see what the reality is. And growing up here and raising your children here,
Right. It's a
When-
nice place to do it.
Pinehurst is now home,
Right.
right? And is she an only child?
Yes.
Lucky her, right?
Yes.
Yes.
100% undivided attention.
She gets it all.
Wait,
Sometimes unwanted.
Is she a fifth grader?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
Yep. Fourth grade.
Okay.
Pinehurst Elementary.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
She's probably in school with a couple of kids that I know, but
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Josie Gibson, Lainey Gibson.
Yep. Oh, sure.
Okay. Their mom.
Tracy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tracy is
Sure.
a broker with us.
Yes.
Great lady.
So nice.
Yeah. Too bad she
She's
has
got
no
a
personality.
I know.
Right? She's so shy.
Kind of like you. She's very Megan's.
That's
you know.
exactly right.
Right. You know.
Yeah. She goes in, she'll light up a dark room.
Right.
Megan, you'll walk in, I can tell you light up a dark room.
Right.
And, but I hear all about the school, and so I don't know if the kids are in the same class, but it's a small
They're
little
not.
town.
We're kind of staggered, but it is, and it's. I mean, just mentioning all the different people and their names and stuff. I mean, when you mention people that are helping us with events and stuff, it's nice because most people will have heard of them or know of them, or will then use them after the fact. You know.
Yeah.
So it's a close knit community, but
Yeah.
we enjoy raising our daughter here.
Yeah.
We really do.
And Megan, after only 2 years, you and your husband have been married 2 years. Is it looking like, I mean, Pinehurst is going to be home?
Yeah, I
for
love
you?
it here. I really do. I am originally from Chicago as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't know each other then. So, so originally from Chicago, and then I lived in Clayton, North Carolina, and then Knoxville, Tennessee. And coming from Knoxville, which is a much bigger city, I wasn't sure what to expect. But I love how cute and quaint the town is, and how friendly people are. It's really easy to make it home.
You sound like you have a really good pulse on the community for somebody who's been doing this for such a short period of time. I can only imagine where you might be in 4 years from now.
I'm excited to find out too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Again, tell us where people can go to read all about the events coming up this fall and where they can access the Pinehurst Activity Guide.
Yeah, so VOPNC.org is our website, and again, Melissa is someone that oversees that and does a great job keeping it updated. You can find the Parks and Rec tab on there, which you can download the activity guide in a PDF version if you want to pick it up in hand, which is always nice as well.
Yeah.
Post Office, Welcome Center, and Village Hall to pick those up.
And soon to be the community center. So that's going to be an exciting space to have.
Tell me about the community center.
So we're going to be opening, we think, November.
Early November,
Correct.
ideally.
And the Parks and Rec department will be housed there. There's huge basketball court, and most of our programming will then move over to the community center. So we'll have a lot of great things going on there.
Program space and yeah, so those details are still being finalized. We hope to take that to council soon and kind of get all of the details for that in line. And once all of that information about the community center is available, that also will be able to be found on our website.
When's the move-in schedule?
Early November. So
Oh.
it's still not set in stone just yet.
You're close.
It's
we're
coming.
getting, and it's
Yeah.
looking fantastic as well. It
But-
looks really good.
But by the end of the year, for sure.
I
Absolutely.
think so, yeah.
Okay. The last 4 months of the year here go like a racehorse.
They do.
Like a greyhound. And it just happens so quickly, and all of a sudden, you're talking about New Year's Eve plans, and then you're back into spring again. It's crazy.
Right.
So we're glad that we could get you on the show at this juncture because the very first event that we talked about today is next week on the
is.
13th,
Friday.
It is, yes.
live at 5.
Yes.
This is my 20th year living here. It's the 10th year doing the show, but just by listening to both of you, and Megan, listening to you after being here for 2 years, I'm convinced that the next 20 years are going to take on a whole new identity, a whole new feel, as this area is changing and getting younger and getting more vibrant. And I love the position that you're in, and I think that the village made a good choice when they selected you. They can, just so you know.
I agree.
Well, thanks, guys.
Right?
I appreciate that.
You
Thank
can't take all these statements of truth.
I know.
Emily, it was a pleasure to have you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
I'm
we
going to
really
tell
appreciate
Tracy I ran into you.
Oh, yes.
It's a small
please.
world. And you'll
Yes.
see her at school.
I probably will.
Yeah, and Megan McDonald, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. We appreciate this opportunity to talk about what we got going on.
Well, the show is on. We hope to be on the next 10 years. And so please feel free to reach out to me if you have things that you want to talk about. It can be the whole show. It can be part of a show. Each week we're always looking for things to talk about to highlight activities that make Moore County a great place to live.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys. And Dorothy, thanks for putting up with me at the beginning of the show.
My pleasure, Bill.
More
Dorothy.
progress reports on my renovation as
I
we
look
go
forward
through the
to 'em.
fall season. All right, everyone. Have a great week. This is All Things Moore County.